Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Clark. As you all may be aware, we at Tater Inc. are considering upgrading our computer systems from Windows XP to the latest version of Windows, Windows 10. Now, our company has been dependent on XP for quite some time, but we believe it is now time for us to update to a more current operating system. The purpose of this presentation is to go over the hardware that we currently have in place and examine the hardware requirements needed to upgrade to Windows 10. So let's start with examining reasons why upgrading to Windows 10 would be a viable option. First, faster startup. The amount of time from power on to the operating system up and running is drastically increased with this option as compared to Windows XP. Windows 10 also has access to a large pool of apps that can be downloaded and run on the system. This would give us an access to a large variety of tools in order to be more productive. These apps can run in full screen, and they can also run in their own sandboxes for an extra security measure. The system is touchscreen friendly, so if we were ever to decide in the future to upgrade to a touchscreen system to add productivity, this operating system would best facilitate that. You can also use the same management tools to manage all devices running Windows XP, from desktops to laptops to tablets and even phones. In addition, all current management tools would continue to work with Windows 10. It has an updated browser. This browser is faster and has better features as compared to the old browser system. Therefore, if in the instance that we need to use the browser during our business, this would make it more efficient. Windows 10 has added security as well as the Secure Boot feature. With the Secure Boot feature, no program that is not signed by Microsoft itself can load during the boot up process. This added level of security would prevent any boot viruses from affecting our systems and add an extra layer of protection. Another feature that would come in handy would be the virtual desktops feature. These virtual desktops can be easily switched to between on the desktop. This would benefit us because we could have certain desktops set up with certain programs that we could easily switch between without needing to open or close any programs. The biggest reason for us to update to Windows 10 would be for the security updates, as XP is no longer receiving patches and security updates from Microsoft. This would bring us right starting at the beginning with a longer window of time in order to continue to receive necessary security patches and system updates. Also, the Start menu on Windows 10 is similar to the one we're familiar with XP, with an updated layout to make it more efficient. Now that we've discussed reasons to move to Windows 10, let's take a moment to go through our current hardware inventory by department. Let's start with the administrative offices. This department employs 32 employees. They utilize 25 Dell Precision Tower 5810 workstations. Each of these stations has 4 gigabytes of RAM and 5 terabytes of hard drive space. They also have 6 Toshiba Satellite A665 workstations, each with 4 gigabytes of RAM and 300 gigabytes of hard drive space. Now the RAM is a virtual memory that works in conjunction with the processor to run the operating system itself and the programs on it. The hard disk is the available physical memory on which files and resources can be stored. The next department is the finance department. The finance department employs 56 workers, each with access to 56 Dell Precision Tower 5810 workstations, each with 4 gigabytes of RAM and 5 terabytes of hard drive space. They also have 10 Lenovo Y40 laptops with 4 gigabytes of RAM each and 5 terabytes of hard drive space. The sales department's 22 employees utilize 22 Toshiba Satellite A665 laptop workstations. Each of these has 4 gigabytes of RAM and 300 gigabytes of hard drive space. Our main processing facility employs 260 workers. These workers have access to 120 Dell Optiplex 320 workstations, each with 4 gigabytes of hard drive space and 300 gigabytes in hard disk space. Our shipping and receiving department employs 42 people, each with access to 120 Dell Optiplex 755 workstations, each with 4 gigabytes of RAM and 300 gigabytes of hard drive space. Our R&D department's 5 employees each have a Dell Optiplex 755 workstation with 4 gigabytes of RAM and 300 gigabytes of available hard drive. The facilities and maintenance department employs 26 employees with access to 26 Dell Optiplex GX 110 workstations, each with 4 gigabytes of hard drive space and 300 gigabytes of hard drive space, 4 gigabytes of RAM. Our IT support department has 8 employees. Each of these employees has a Toshiba Satellite A665 workstation with 4 gigabytes of RAM and 300 gigabytes of hard drive space. Our current server inventory are as follows: 1 file server running Windows Server 2012 R2, 1 Exchange server running Windows Server 2012 R2, and 1 application server also running Windows Server 2012 R2. As you can see, our server is running Server 2012 R2, which is the latest version of Windows Server Program. Would also better meet up or pair up with the Windows 10 system, as they are similarly designed. Now let's take a look, now that we've gone through our hardware inventory, let's take a look at the hardware requirements for upgrading to Windows 10. All you require is one processor of 1 gigahertz or faster, 1 gigabyte of RAM for a 32-bit operating system, or 2 gigabytes of RAM for a 64-bit operating system, and only 16 gigabytes of free hard drive space. As you can see, our current hardware meets or exceeds the requirements for upgrading to Windows 10. All of our current hardware in all departments meet the necessary requirements for this upgrade. Therefore, there would be no additional hardware upgrades needed and no additional expenses on the hardware side. The only expenses for this upgrade would come in the software itself. As we've missed the window to upgrade from Windows XP, we would need to purchase the licenses and the software directly from Microsoft. Now here are a couple estimated cost options that we may choose in order to do this upgrade. The first would be to purchase a volume license for all 300 of our systems that includes only the key for a genuine copy. This would be an estimated cost of $38,400. The second option, and what I believe to be the best option, would be to purchase a volume license for all 300 of our systems, which would not only give us access to the key, but would also give us the option to upgrade to the newest version of Windows after Windows 10. This option would have an estimated cost of $95,100. As you can see, our hardware is currently set up to be able to perform this upgrade. It would be a simple matter of just sending it out to the systems, no hardware upgrades necessary. And the cost versus the benefit is quite low. I would recommend a volume license with upgrade option in our current hardware situation. This will conclude our presentation, and thank you for your time.